all. Good afternoon. Just informing that we'll start in sharp 2 minutes. Thank you, everyone. Hello, all. A very good afternoon. Before I start, if someone can let me know I am loud and clear, audible.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yes, hello all, a very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta Dubey, and on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our title partner, Exotel, we welcome you all on our roundtable, that's adoption of cloud communication for constant customer engagement in the gaming industry. So before we start our roundtable, there are a few guidelines I would quickly like to highlight that and make you people are aware of. Requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the session. There would be a Q&A after each session where we'll open up for the questions and answers with our thought leaders. The guidelines are you need to raise your hands, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and put your question to our thought leaders. So to start with, first, I am happy to introduce our partner, Exotel. Exotel is one of the India's largest cloud telephony companies working with 4,500 plus businesses, including top enterprises and startups. They solve communication problems for various industries, be it like automobile, e-commerce, cab aggregators, BFSI, gaming, insurance, or fintech. Exotel is one of the Asia's largest cloud telephony companies, and its Exotel is secure and reliable business phone system on the cloud. Simple to set up, no additional infrastructure or equipment required, enables sales and support teams irrespective of where they work from. And now I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Mr. Raman Kishore, head of ABM with Exotel, and he is here with us today to share interesting insights on adoption of cloud communication for constant customer engagement in the gaming industry. Over to you, Raman, to share your thoughts.
Hi guys, thank you, Ekta, for the introduction. Let me just share my screen. If you guys can just confirm, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, we are.
All right, okay. All right, let's get started. Firstly, thank you so much, Ekta, for the introduction, and thank you so much for putting together this webinar. Firstly, thank you all for making it to the webinar. Good afternoon to you. I think good evening. It's almost evening. But yeah, anyway, let's get started. Like Ekta mentioned, we're going to be talking about how cloud communication is actually helping people, helping improve the entire customer engagement in the gaming industry, right? That's what we are here to talk about. I'm just going to take you through different areas of how cloud communication can actually be can play a key role in improving the customer engagement. Let's get started. All right. Before we get started, let me just quickly introduce myself. Like Ekta mentioned, my name is Raman. I actually head enterprise marketing, or what we call ABM marketing at Exotel. In fact, my role actually involves engaging with some of the largest enterprises across various industries, be it BFSI, be it gaming industry, be it marketplaces, FMCG, and etc., both in Southeast Asia and in India, to actually help them create a smart yet personalized communication platform that actually brings about both operational and financial benefits. And that has been my role for the past 6+ years. And so yeah, let's get quickly started with today's agenda. So this is what we're going to discuss in today's session. All right. So these are the 3 key things that we're going to focus on. One, we'll be going over a brief overview of what the entire gaming industry looks like in India. All right, and what its growth trajectory can look like. 2, we'll also be quickly talking about some of the key challenges specific to communication that actually exist in the gaming industry. All right, and slowly we'll also go over how cloud telephony, right, how Exotel or any other cloud telephony player for that matter, in general, can actually help solve some of these key communication challenges, and actually can help enhance the entire customer communication or customer engagement that exists in the gaming industry, right? So this is what we're going to discuss today. So let's get started, right? So in fact, I'm pretty sure that these data points, which I'm actually going to illustrate in this slide and in my subscript in the coming up slides, are actually not very surprising or not alien to you, right? In fact, the growth has been phenomenal in almost every segment of the gaming industry, be it your consoles, be it your PCs, or be it especially your mobile gaming industry, right? In fact, one of the major factors that have actually fueled this enormous growth is actually the increase in the number of affordable smartphones that have come out there, and also the very cheap internet that we've had in the last 5 years, right? So in fact, if we dive deeper into this data, we can actually see that there's a huge surge, almost double the number of increase in the mobile gaming platform when compared to, say, PC or console games in the last few years, right? So in fact, this actually opens up a huge number of possibilities, or a huge range of possibilities for the gaming companies such as yours to actually engage with the gamers more consistently, and also ensure to retain them on the platform, right? It gives us a lot of opportunities to do so. In fact, the next 2 slides, you'll also see how the value of gaming has actually increased in the last few years. Let's just quickly take a look. In fact, here you can see the value of gaming has increased tremendously in the last few years, right? So in fact, if you think about it, it's actually very proportional to the number of users that have been increasing year on year, right? In fact, here you can see that it's estimated that 2.8 million gamers will be online in the year 2022, right? So that's a huge increase, almost more than double since 2016, right? So obviously, all of us know that it's a huge industry. That's primarily why we've been seeing a lot of companies actually getting into this industry to get a share of this huge pie, right? So let's actually take a look at, in fact, with this increasing number of users and with this huge scale coming up, there are a lot of challenges also that are accompanied with it, right? In fact, these are some of the key challenges, at least that we have identified, having worked with some of the top gaming companies and having worked in this industry. And having spoken to some of the top players, we've been able to put together some of the key communication challenges, right? Let's take a look at them. One, constant growth in customer acquisition has always been a challenge, right? Especially with this ever-growing market of mobile gamers, it's become an even bigger challenge right now. In fact, holistic communication and engagement to improve the time spent on each of these platforms actually that actually results in greater in-app purchases also is one of the bigger challenges, right? In fact, the other major challenge is the retention. That is retention of users across multiple platforms, right? When most users right now, there are so many platforms to choose from, so retaining them on your platform becomes a huge challenge again. And more than ever, I think customer experience, like always, plays a very pivotal role in actually retaining these customers. So these are some of the key challenges that are actually being faced by gaming industries, right? I mean, if there are anything more, we can obviously discuss during the panel. But I think these are some things that we have identified. Yeah. Sorry. All right. So in fact, based on the problems that we just discussed, right, the following are actually the teams that can actually use cloud telephony, or they can be empowered by cloud telephony to basically bridge all the gaps that we just spoke about, right? So in fact, the sales and marketing teams can successfully leverage the power of cloud telephony to acquire this increasing number of gamers, right? They can look to target a set of a gaming crowd and look to personalize all the communication and look to see how they can leverage cloud telephony to acquire that set of customers. Secondly, product teams can actually use most of these cloud telephony features to significantly increase the seamlessness of signing up and onboarding, right? So, which is actually a huge problem, which we'll probably talk about in some time. The operations and support teams can also make sure that the experience on the platform is delightful and that the gamers actually spend more time on the platform and ensure that they want to spend more time on the platform, right? And the customer success teams with their increased target communication can also effectively use cloud telephony to ensure that every gamer is actually engaged with the right communication, right? There's so much data out there. Talking to them with the right communication actually matters. So I think customer success team can actually benefit a lot from this. So basically, every customer-facing team, or even teams like product teams and etc., can actually benefit from using cloud telephony in different ways. So in fact, if you actually try to redefine how an improved customer experience would look like, say in a life cycle of a gamer, it would be something like this, right? Phase one is where sales and marketing teams are actually reaching out to a target set of gamers to acquire them and get them onto the platform, right? And say in phase two, the product team ensures that the download of the application, the signing up or verification or authentication on the application, basically the entire onboarding is done as seamlessly as possible. And in your phase three, or basically your operation support teams actually ensures that all the issues or grievances brought about by the gamers are actually solved as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. And finally, during the phase 4, your customer success teams are actually focused on reaching out to the customers with the right message to ensure that their time span or their the time spent on the platform is increased, right? So these are the different phases that we can actually associate, or how the different phases that the gamer actually goes through, right? This is something that each of the companies can focus on. Let's take a look at each of these phases one by one, right? In fact, the sales and marketing teams are always looking for tools and technologies to ensure that they can actually use to penetrate much deeper into their target segment, right? In fact, one key metric that most sales and marketing team focuses on is the penetration rate, right? So if you're looking to target a particular segment, how much of that segment are you actually penetrating into, and how effectively can you penetrate deeper into that segment, right? So this is a challenge that every sales or marketing team faces. How can cloud telephony play a role here, right? In fact, using automated calls and SMS, in fact, this is increasingly being used by most of these companies, and they also see this as one of the best ways to basically solve this challenge of getting deeper into the market, right? So in fact, this, I mean, these features or these cloud telephony features not only simplifies communication for the team, but also it empowers them to personalize every communication based on all the data sets, all the operating data sets, and the smart messaging that they have to basically make sure that the customer can hit that call to action button, right? In fact, with Exetel's increased delivery rates, I think this also becomes a lot more effective to ensure that the sales and marketing team performs efficiently. So I think this is one area where a cloud communication player can add a huge value to the sales and support teams specifically. In fact, user authentication often becomes a huge challenge, especially in India with low SMS OTP delivery rates, and also the increased latency in receiving the SMS. I'm sure all of us would have faced this, right? While you're trying to say download an application, or you're trying to do a cash transaction, you end up waiting for the SMS to arrive, right? Or sometimes the SMS, you keep hitting the resend OTPs and etc. And I personally have experienced this a lot of times. I mean, honestly, it actually disrupts the customer experience for every gamer, right? And in fact, this becomes increasingly important for games with cash transactions, as it includes multiple layers of authentication for the gamers, and to ensure that they keep engaging with the platform. How can this be solved, right? Or how can this be addressed, rather? In fact, at Exetel, NOTP is actually a solution that is quite unique to Exetel. It is a authentication solution which does not make use of SMS or voice OTPs, right? I mean, that's why it's called no OTP, no OTP, all right? Hence the name. But basically, it uses missed calls to verify your customers, and this entire service is actually embedded within the SDK of the application. So the entire process becomes as seamless as possible for your customers. This actually offers both operational benefit and financial benefit. How, if you may ask? In fact, this the latency with NOTP is in fact much less than 5 to 10 seconds, which on an average is a lot lesser than any of your SMS OTPs or voice OTPs, right? And the success rate is also quite high. And this actually improves your customer experience. And secondly, this is, since it does not involve any SMS or a voice call, it is actually 30 to 40% say cheaper or lesser than your any other regular mode of authentication that is out there, right? So it offers both operational and financial benefit as far as any company is concerned. Yeah, dispute resolution actually is another challenge that is actually becoming more and more important with increased number of users on the platform, right? In fact, there are a lot of issues being raised as a gamer. Like, issues can be against a feature or exchange of credits or tokens, or it could also be because of, say, patchy internet connection causing disruption in the game flow, and many others. In fact, but again, each of these concerns are valued by every gamer, and this actually affects the customer. I mean, the experience of the gamer. So every company needs to find a way to solve each of their issues in the fastest way possible and in the most effective way possible, right? So, in fact, this is something that we do with some of the companies. I think the first step is as simple as just getting a simple toll-free number. In fact, for some of the games that I have played or my friends have played, I think one of the constant complaints that I get that there is no standard number that they can call on if they have an issue, right? So the first step, it might sound very simple, but I think this is the first step that most companies could take. That is having a simple toll-free number where all the gamers can easily reach to get their issues resolved, right? Also, we have seen that in these gaming platforms, several communities are being built, and to make sure that the engagement time goes up and that the gamers actually do not move out of the platform, right? Imagine having a calling feature, which again most companies already do, but having a calling feature within the app actually goes a long way to keep the gamers within the community constantly engaged. In fact, these two ways, these are some of the basically having a toll-free number and having a call to action or having a call to connect rather with the community, I think actually increases the engagement with the customer. And yeah, I mean, I think this is the last one when it comes to customer success team specifically. In fact, the more effectively a gamer actually engages themselves on the platform, the higher are their chances on the platform to do in-app purchases, right? Which is one of the major like revenue models for most companies, if I'm not wrong, right? So in fact, often levels, in fact, like I think here the usage of data becomes a lot more important. There is so much data about the gamer that is there in the platform, in the database, that can actually be effectively used to communicate at the right time, right? I think though there's a lot of data and the communications going out to the gamers is very constant, right? Or what do I say? It is not, it could be a lot more personalized, and it could be a lot more precise to that particular gamer. Like for example, if I'm playing a particular game and I could get a notification to buy something that would be relevant for that particular game at that particular point in time, right? That would increase the chance of me buying that particular platform or in-app purchase. So usage of data becomes very important. I think that's where cloud telephony plays a key role, where cloud telephony can actually be very deeply integrated within your platform. It can understand what exactly the customer is going through and actually reach out to him with, again, calls or SMS or in-app communication or even chat, any channel that you may choose, right? But the idea is to use the data to reach out to that particular gamer at the right time with the right message, right? So I think that's where cloud communication plays a key role. This will actually help you keep the gamer engaged on the platform for a much longer time, and also help increase his spends on the game, right? So so I think that is one way you can actually reduce churn that's actually becoming an increasing challenge in the industry. So in fact, these are all some of the ways in which cloud telephony can be benefited. I mean, apart from these, there are other areas, obviously, where cloud telephony can add a lot of value to you as a company. In fact, improved brand value would be one of them. That is, in fact, every time a call goes out or every time an SMS goes out, your brand is being republished to the customer over and over again, right? And in fact, like I told you, most of the cloud telephony features or cloud telephony in general actually reduces operational costs because it does not involve having any physical setup at your office per se. It could be for a call center setup, it could be for even authentication like I just spoke to you about, or it could be even for mass communication. You don't need any physical setup or like an EPBX setup of sorts, which is like the traditional way to go. Rather, cloud communication is completely on the cloud, so there is no capex involved at all. It's only operational cost that you would be using it for. So basically, you pay for what you use, just like how standardized these days. In fact, it also helps you improve the overall customer experience. I mean, we just saw how it actually improves customer experience in almost every stage of a life cycle of the gamer, right? I think the fourth thing is data, right? That is giving complete visibility and insight into what exactly every gamer is doing, right? And how you can actually use this data to increase his engagement, his or her engagement on the platform. So that is something that actually becomes a very key factor, where you have a 360-degree view on almost every customer of yours. And of course, all of these features is also to gain an edge over your competition. And I think, I mean, the last thing is also, obviously, all of these features also has a direct impact on your sales numbers in general, right? So the retention rate, the conversion rate, the number of people that you bring onto your platform, the number of people that you retain on your platform are all affected by using cloud telephony as well. So in fact, these are all some of the benefits that actually cloud telephony can bring in within the gaming industry. So in fact, Pocket and Gamescraft and a few other companies that in the gaming industry that use us, basically they use us for various use cases, like I just mentioned to you. For example, here, Pocket example uses us for automating all their inbound calling functions. Like for all the calls that comes inbound for queries, there's a automation layer on top that actually automates most of these communications, most of these query answering, which you don't need a manual person to do it, right? And similarly, Gamescraft, like I told you, they have a toll-free number using Exetel where they can reach out for queries, and they also have a call to connect using Exetel. So these are some of the areas where we've been able to help the entire gaming industry. I mean, yeah, I hope you guys were able to get some insights into how we've been helping, or cloud telephony in general has been helping the gaming industry. I mean, if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Yes, thank you so much, Raman, for sharing your insights. So audiences, as I've already mentioned on the chat box, that we would love to take Q&A. If you can mention your questions there as well. So any questions, please put it to Raman. We can take one or two questions, and then we move to our open roundtable discussion.
We can also look at questions at the end of the panel.
Yes, of course, that's not a problem. Okay, no worries. So now, moving forward to an interesting roundtable discussion. The topic is reimagining the customer experience using cloud communication. And I'm happy to introduce our speakers today from the gaming industry. Today we have Mr. Leela Shankar, founder and CEO with Krypton Cloud Gaming, Mr. Ronak Bagga, Chief Executive Officer and founder, Coolgen Interactives. We have Ms. Garima Pant, Associate Vice President, Customer Experience, Junglee Games. We have Mr. Vikas Kantu, Senior Vice President, Quadrific Media Limited. We have Mr. Rajat Bandopadhyay. He's the co-founder with Red Panda Transmedia, also the faculty of Adamus University. We have Mr. Prashant Sharma, Vice President, Customer Experience with Gamescraft. Mr. Pratik Vora, Head Online Reputation Management with Games 24/7, and Mr. Imtiaz Hussain, COO with Yes Genome. And now I would like to invite our moderator, Mr. Anamitra Ghosh, ABM Associate with Exetel. So over to you, Anamitra, to start your session.
Thank you so much, Ekta. I hope that I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Great. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking some time out and having this discussion today. And thank you so much, Raman, for taking us through the snapshot of the gaming industry in India and the potential to grow. And what are the possible challenges that we have observed being in conversation with a lot of industry leaders in the past few years, right? We would like to have a very candid conversation here where we would want to understand from each one of you, because you are a diverse set of people representing all the sectors of gaming, be it mobile, be it other platforms. And it's very important to understand the nuances of each kind of platform, the gaming or the gamers' behavior on the platform. Uh, okay, yeah, the gamers' behavior on the platform, and what are the challenges that you face. So if I could go around the room and maybe ask each one of you to briefly talk about uh, your role, how you want to kind of enhance the customer experience in your organization, and what exactly at the moment your organization is targeting towards uplifting the gamer experience. So if we can start with Ronak.
Yeah. Hey everyone. So good afternoon, and thank you for giving us opportunity, Anamitra. So like I want to share my like you can say first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Ronak Bhagat, co-founder of Coolgen Interactives, and our gaming firm is NextGen Studios. So over there we are concentrating on the PC game currently. So I will talk about the PC industry. Okay, like how this cloud communication help us to communicate with the customers as well as players connecting to each other. These two aspects are the very important while you are playing a game currently, like especially in a multiplayer genre. Please, and guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, anyone. So like this is something I realized in a very early stage, like when I used to play games, that if I am communicating with my players, okay, like with my friends and stuff, it is more fun to play a game instead of just having a casual gaming and exploring the world. Okay, so over here I like the cloud communication technology, and in near future even I am planning to integrate it in my games. So and first, like I would not say very soon I'm going to come up in a gaming PC game, but yeah, within an year I'm going to have my first launch. So hopefully that should introduce that communication inside a game. Okay, I'm more focused into it. And after you launch a game, okay, and the second point I want to highlight, after you launch a game, you also realize the players will face some of the other problems. Maybe it can be solved by a live, or it can be solved little late if you are considering it's any technical errors like a bug or a serious bug. Okay, but the communication to get that bugs are very seamless from the cloud. Like just nowadays, like just few within a few clicks, you can just send your whole data to the company so that company can analyze and summarize your bug and solve it as soon as possible. Okay, so there I want to like give a hats off to the cloud communication over there. It helps us a lot. And yeah, that's it, guys. I will switch over to Anamitra for continuing the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronak, for diving deep into what you're planning to do and how you want to integrate communication and the challenges that you can overcome with cloud communication. Prateek, why don't I ask you now that on with your present role and with your previous experience as well, how do you think that cloud telephony plays a role, or personalized and customized communication helps uplift the customer engagement and experience, rather gaming experience?
Yeah, surely. Thanks, Anamitra, for that, for asking that. And I'll just firstly begin with introducing myself. So I'm Prateek Bora. I'm a part of Games 24/7. I head the online reputation team in Games 24/7 and a part of our CRM team. So, we at Games 24/7 always have believed in leveraging science to deliver immersive gaming experience to our players. And we are also one of the most successful gaming businesses in India with a full stack of, skill games and casual games. Skill games include Rummy Circle and My 11 Circle. Those of you who are aware, Rummy Circle is a card game. My 11 Circle is a fantasy game. While casual games include freemium games in the brand name of Ultimate Games. So thank you so much, and happy to be as part of this roundtable. Now coming to your question, Anamitra. So like honestly, I mean, like I'll just dissect this question in two things. What are we doing for improving our CX, and yes, how cloud telephony can, I mean, is the next big thing which all of us know, but why that would be a game changer for CX, for improving CX, is something that I'll just share my 2 cents on that. So what are we doing for improving our CX? We've always been like a very player-centric organization and as a company philosophy. And over the years, we have done a lot of changes in our product, in our customer support, the way we interact, with our players, or even for example, the way we look at our data. Everything, from like tech to product to data science team to customer support. Every team has one common factor is player experience. So obviously, all of us do our bit to improve that, and together I'm very proud to say that we've built games. Both the games are really keeping in mind, that how a player and a typical player, again, the player that we have, our demographic, how they will feel or how they will react to certain changes. So that's what we do for improving our CX. And now with respect to cloud telephony, again, like COVID was the best example of how cloud telephony, just changed the game. And obviously, as far as our organization is concerned, or even people in general, gaming sector in general is concerned, I think all of us saw that how cloud can, in our work from home scenarios, in our remote working scenarios, cloud was the go-to, technology. And with cloud evolving to an extent where cloud is now also layered with, I won't say layered, but there is also one more additional feature, AI. So now AI with, I don't know if, sorry to say, Ramitra, I'm not aware if Exotel has that, but I know products, I've been reading a lot. I know products where, they've combined cloud with AI, wherein the entire experience, the entire, journey is so easy. Say, for example, my agent is talking to a player, right? And whatever the player spoke, just after the call is disconnected, the transcribe is done by the AI, by the machine learning. The sentiment analysis is done. It is automatically tagged in a relevant disposition, as we say, as we giving, and as we say, as classification, so to say. And then it becomes easier to dissect the data, like what happened. I mean, if I, even before the agent picks up the call, he knows everything about that player. What was the previous CSAT? What was the previous 10 CSATs? Say if he was if the CSAT has always been negative, that means the agent is already aware that this may be a problematic sort of player. Let me handle it with more empathy. So all of these things, this cloud is the main, I would say. I mean, I'm not going to take much time, but all of this is possible because cloud, it is a technology. And obviously, you're not saying that on-premise nahi ho sakta tha, but then because of the cloud technology, it has become more accessible, more on the go. And India, like you rightfully said, it's 90% mobile in terms of mobile adoption. In terms of working professionals, everyone wants to do everything on the go. So this is definitely going to be the game changer. I would say that maybe this will be completely, all the organizations will adapt to this, because there are a lot of challenges which maybe we'll discuss the next question that you might have. But this will definitely go in a hybrid model where we will partially be on the cloud while we also have some advantages of our on-premise solution. That's it from my side. Anamitra, over to you.
Thanks, Prateek. And I think quite a few very interesting points came up, and that is uh, with respect to the demographics. And whenever we talk about demographics, personalization and customization comes into review. One of the very interesting fact that I came across while doing some sort of a research about the gaming behavior and the gamers' behavior is that the Indian gamers, they do prefer a light version of the game app. So we can see a Facebook Lite and this app Lite and that app Lite. So now Raman mentioned that the internet is cheap, smartphones are affordable, but still, I think Indian gamers are still at a point where they're a bit conservative about the kind of data that they are spending while gaming, because most of the games that has a major traction now, where if you can like go out in the streets in the evening, you'd see quite a few people would be sitting somewhere and just glued to their phones, gaming, and maybe also shouting at some point of time with some aggression, right? So at this stage where there is a bit of a conservatism about the data that they're spending, and also keeping in mind the fact with so many reels and TikTok videos and bloggers coming up, video is undoubtedly one of the most engaging platforms, right? But when people are being conservative on data usage, do you think cloud telephony's uh, calls or SMSs or maybe even WhatsApp can be an alternative to a better penetration for engagement with these gamers? Imtiaz, why don't you go ahead and maybe talk a bit about your organization, how maybe challenges that you're facing and the scenario that I just mentioned.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Anamitra, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining in, and super excited to be part of this one. My name is Imtiaz Hussain. I'm part of a studio called Yesnoom, which is in Hyderabad. We are a mobile game studio, been veterans into free-to-play industry for some time now. Had a moderate success, built games on Hollywood IPs like Star Trek, Fox movie called Kingsman, and so on. So that I'm also one of the organizers of India Game Developer Conference, which happens annually here. So that said, as a company, we have been focusing on free-to-play games, and free-to-play games, as many of my peers would know, that the key metric is retention, and and that is the metric that everyone track on. And I think how cloud communication has changed that dynamics is amazing in terms of like we had issues where the users or rather players were stuck at like 7th level and they were not able to pass. And so we have a segmentation where we can, hey, you know what, all the people who are in the 7th level, let's push a notification to them saying that, hey guys, we know that you're stuck, take an extra life. Or this is a small tutorial, you might actually bypass that screen or bypass that screen. So these are the methods that would really help us to actually engage the user, at the same time retention. And obviously, as you know, that free to play retention will obviously increase the conversion rate and also the in-app purchases and so on and so forth. So, but what it is helping us is what I can say is an experience overall, right? If you there is various form of communication. One of the things I can quickly think of, I think most of us here on the panel and also the people who are watching us might have played a game called Ludo King. And if you have come across, they introduced the feature where people were like, players can talk to other players, right, over a voice call. And that increased their retention to an all new level. And their in-app purchases were gone up and so on. So the community wise as well, I think it adds a lot of value in terms of whether you can give that a provision for the user to interact with other users. We ourselves have our own games. We have created voice and chat panels where people can talk to each other, and we see that segment of users have an amazing retention and conversion rate is really high. So I would not take a lot of time, but I would say that this is an exciting phase for India. A lot of things are happening. A lot of companies are coming up. We are super excited. This year has been an amazing year for India overall. A lot of acquisitions, over $500 million acquisition of PlaySimple, Moonfrog, and so on and so forth. People are racing rounds, Winzos and MPLs of the world, and Jungly has in fact had a major stake on there. So it's amazing, guys. So good luck, and happy to contribute wherever you want me to comment on. So
thank you so much, Imtiaz. I think two of the points that I would definitely take away from here is F2P model. I think most of the gaming platforms and organizations are based on the F2P model. And most importantly, when you mentioned the changing landscape of India in terms of gaming, because India is always known to be the hub for outsourcing, right? Like we see all our IT friends working in IT. They are like 90% of them are working for projects which are based out of India, not out of outside India. That scenario has changed a lot in gaming because India is taking up the gaming market, doing things for their own target group. And we have been very successful, as your data rightly mentioned. So Rajat, why don't you mention that that the social factor, the whole idea of building a community, uh, and this in-app conversations. How do you feel a community-driven atmosphere in the Indian gaming scenario has been fueling growth?
Yeah, thanks. I hope I'm audible. Thanks, Anna Mitra.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay,
You can
thank you so much, Anna Mitra. Good evening to all of you. I am Rajat Bandopadhyay. During the day, I'm a professor. During the night, I'm a vigilante game developer. Okay, so
And
some of
also a fun fact, Rajat teaches in the same college from where I did my engineering. So we have a Calcutta connection there.
yeah, but I'm from Mumbai. I was imported from Mumbai to Calcutta. That's
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just kidding. Yeah, definitely social networking element is the key over here. I think one of the main factors, you see, if you look at our population, we have a lot of youth population. I'm sure most developers over here in the panel will agree to this. We have a very robust youth population, and networking plays a major role among the youths. If you see their behavior, their, the kind of games that they play, the choice of the levels that they want to play together, the missions they want to play together in big console games I'm talking about. So there is a lot of networking, there is a lot of community building. They share their achievements. Again, as Imtiaz spoke about Ludo King. Ludo King allows you to share your achievements with your own very community of players. So the thing is, and a lot of games do that. Even I worked for Game Loft in the past, and their Blackout game, that is Blackout, I was a part of their team, and essentially they have implemented a lot of elements that build the community back in 2014 to 2015, back then. So community building is essentially going to be one of the most retaining factor. There is one more, sorry, I just want to add one more point here, if you don't mind. That is, I want to actually agree with Pratik as well. That is, having a machine learning and AI will definitely help in this regard. And I'll tell you why. I'll add more on to that. The reason is because we also evaluate our game performance. We also evaluate the retention factor. We also evaluate, we're analyzing. So analytics will also help, so whether there is any problem with the game, whether we figure it out based on the behavior pattern of the players, if they're able to engage with the content or not. And also a little bit of audio to text, or maybe if they can catch up the language, if they can completely bypass the language barrier, if the machine learning can also identify regional languages, that will be of great benefit, I'll tell you. Because in India, many players may not necessarily speak English. Many of them from regional sectors may love to interact in their local and regional languages. So a bit of machine learning input over there that can identify concerns of players speaking different languages will also be helpful over here. So that's my input, Anamitra.
That is actually very insightful, and especially because in your day profession, you deal with a lot of youth, and you see how that transformation and how their engagement with gaming platforms are. So I think that gives a lot of insight. Also, another very interesting insight that I came across is that we are actually growing in terms of the population of female gamers in India. And I think the largest growth has been in that sector. So Garima, with your experience, why don't you tell us a bit more about it? And maybe because I feel communication also, if it can be hyper personalized based on as Rajat mentioned, vernacular language, which stage of game they're in, or what kind of time they are most active in the gaming platforms. If we can take this data points into mind and customize our communication, and also maybe this whole gender gap that we had in the gaming sector, and it's slowly kind of equaling at the moment. What do you have to say about this?
Thanks for the introduction and setting up the ground on this gender diversity and including the gaming as a factor. Frankly, this gap is definitely bridging very fast, and especially with the fantasy gaming into picture. There are initially it was a surprise for me too, seeing a lot of top gamers being female gamers, and also on the card side of the games where some of our top winners are females. So it's really great to see that. When it comes to the communication and the personalization, it plays a very critical role because you know we need to be more sensitive about how we are talking, the tonality, the way we are communicating, the time at which we are trying to reach out for any support, for any information, or when they are trying to reach us. And hence I'll say cloud telephony has helped us to bridge that gap because and like Prateek said, COVID was the best test field for us. We This has helped us to be available for our customers, and at any given point of time, from whenever they wanted us, we were able to scale up pretty fast because of this cloud telephony adoption only. None of the associates are now tied up to a particular location or a seat. Hence, the revamp was easier. Plus, it was a cost-effective methodology too. It was more scalable, customizable, and not to forget the saving which we have incurred because of any hardware installation and maintenance of any hardware. And the most important, like you mentioned, is about the personalization. Today, due to the integration of AI, ML, machine learning, sentiment analysis, intent analysis, we are able to figure out like what kind of customer this is, what kind of background they have, what kind of sentiments they may carry, and to which agent or to which support agent we need to migrate these calls to. And hence, we are able to bridge that gap. So we know that if any female customer who's more comfortable with a X or a Y associate, the calls can be easily routed to those specific defined account managers for a better management of their calls in terms of inbound or for outbound also. And this information stitches into 360-degree customer information for better retention. Also, just to add, the cloud telephony helped us to build better IVR and more smarter IVR systems, which has pushed customer towards self-help, self-serve. Campaigns are managed better, categorized, personalized, easily automated. So I think this is working fantastic for us. And we are able to hyper personalize this, not only basis the category of the user, but also at gender, age, and their previous histories as well.
Thank you for sharing that insights. And I think this is going to be the future. We are at the brim of where the revolution happens. So Prashant, I think Gamescraft is already using Exotel for a part of the inbound service to the customers. And at this present stage, with all the AI, by the way, we have very limited AI capabilities as of now, but we are building on it. It's on the pipeline. We are all set to become a sort of a full stack company where we try to provide all sort of anything that you need for your communication would be available on the Exotel platform. Our developers are working day and night to get that to you. So Prashant, why don't you share some light about how customer communication is helping Gamescraft, or how you're using personalization for greater engagement, or maybe a greater span of time spent on the platforms and the applications?
Sure. Thanks, Anamitra. So for me, I think it's been a great journey. I mean, I don't know if you know, I've spent a decade in gaming. So I finish a decade next year, and I started with my journey with Games 24/7. That was a very different time, right? And in that times we were kind of struggling to convince users to trust the platforms. Okay, this is a genuine gaming site where you can come and play, put your money, withdraw it seamlessly, right? And put your trust in the system. So I think with times, the whole perspective around what we want to do and how we want to engage with users has also been changing for over the years. Initially until 2015, 2016, the focus was more about, trying to get the users to, onto your platform, repeat, and kind of understand that, okay, this is a platform where they can trust and engage, right? Lately, what I've seen is, especially with our journey, so Gamescraft started pretty late into the game in 2017, whereas there were a lot of other of our friends out there, already offering, many games, and so I think one of the key focuses for us, especially, was that how do we get users to kind of try out our app, right? And say that, okay, this is the app where I want to come out, while I do play on multiple platforms. So one of the key things that we started was to say, okay, what are the key challenges of our users, right? So if I talk about, say, the cards vertical. So last year, COVID happened, right? And then one of the problems that we saw was, a lot of the gaming companies, especially on the real money side, did not provide like a 24/7 support, especially a call support to everyone, right? And we said this is one of the key challenges that our users face, especially the TG that we talk about. Typically, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 users, if you read the kind of emails they write, the kind of content they write, they will write half broken English. You will not be able to understand what they want to communicate, what they want to say, right? So he said one of the best ways for us to help them is to give them the support in the way that they want, right? So in the middle of the lockdown, we launched our 24/7 customer support. Imagine how difficult would that be. Thankfully, we were already with Exitel, but then getting that in place during COVID times, it was a big challenge. But I think that was a great thing that we did, which actually we got really good reviews from our users on it, right? So and if you ask me, is it a very great thing to do? I think it's a very basic thing right now. You should give 24/7 support to everyone. But then I think when we take it forward from here, right, like what do you want to do going forward, right? So while everybody talks about doing personalization, talking to people in their own language at their own time when they are able to engage more. But I think there are a few more things that we as a company and every gaming company should definitely kind of focus on. So something that we are trying to work upon is, one is recognize customers or their personas when they interact and how they interact, right? So that is very, very important, so that you do multiple levels of segmentation to understand, okay, with what I send in this way at this time, this is how a person reacts. And so it could be right on the stage of an engagement to the platform, to kind of making a transaction, or to showcase something else, right? Second is, how do we orchestrate the experience to help the customer achieve the desired outcome? So whatever we do, right, the end outcome has to be that the person should do some activity, right? And I think this is one area where, especially, I would say that all of us would agree that we have to do much more on that side, right? So while you send a PN, get people to your platform, but what then? What after that, right? I mean, are they coming in? Are they interacting? You give them like a crazy offer, but is this working for everyone, right? Third is behaviorals and preferences also change, right? And as a platform, we need to keep seeing, how these preferences are changing, how these behaviors are changing, and how we are adopting or changing our customer communications patterns according to that, right? And lastly, I think very important, while we are doing all of this, we are trying to reach out to the customer. Is we have to be very, very cautious that we have to protect the customer through all interactions and secure the data, right? So security is very, very important. Right, users should have the control about their privacy, their stuff, what is being viewed, what is being shown, how are they being kind of contacted with, right? And these are some of the areas that we are trying to focus on as the next step in our journey. And I think, and if we focus on these things, I think that would lead us to better outcomes, and of course create that connect. I think somebody mentioned that when we used to play PC games, that connect used to be there, right? Playing with someone. And I think social plays a very big factor in that. So how do we create those engagements? How do we get people to realize, okay, while you are playing on a, say, a laptop or a mobile, you are sitting in person with someone, you're enjoying that moment, right? So I think that will be the next level of challenge that I think all companies will kind of focus upon. That how do we imagine I win a game, right? How do I get that thrill? One is that you give a nice griffy and play some nice music, but is that it, or can we do something else? I think these are the innovations that I think if they are being cracked well, I think they would go a long way in taking that space to the next level.
Absolutely agree with you, Prashant. And I think my gaming experience is restricted to those days of TV video games when we used to play Super Mario or Contra. And like every evening, I think we used to decide whose TV we are going to use. And we used to always fight for someone with the biggest TV so that we have a greater experience. But then I missed out a lot on the computer gaming, but then mobile gaming is something which I use on and off. Leela, my question now to you would be, how do you think such experiences where we can maybe have that thrill of community and that excitement and enthusiasm of gamers being together, that social connect on your platform? And because I can understand you're a hardcore gamer with the setup that you have. So why don't you share some light on that?
Yeah. So before that, I'm Leela Shankar. Obviously, I'm founder and CEO of Crypto and Cloud Gaming. So what we do is that it's just like YouTube or Netflix, where we come and actually see a video, right? Before that, like 5 to 6 years back, we used to download songs, we used to download movies to actually consume on our phones or our computers. But right now, with the power of internet, we're able to do it directly, right? In the same fashion, we are developing a website where you can easily come through any normal, not a gaming laptop, a normal laptop or computer or a normal phone, and directly play heavy, graphically heavy intensive games like GTA 5 or even PUBG without actually owning 75,000 or a 1 lakh computer or at least a 50,000 rupee phone. So that's what we're actually doing. We're still in developing phase, and we'll be launching very soon. So, and coming to the community community aspect of gaming, it's really really important. I don't know how many of you know over here, but there's an app called Discord, right? The only purpose of Discord is to actually connect gamers. Even players on PUBG who literally has PUBG and other games who literally have inbuilt voice communication, they don't use that, but they come on Discord, they run it on the background, and that's how they actually play. So this kind of cloud communication, especially live voice, is really important in gaming because right now a lot of games are multiplayer and they're live, right? It can't be paused. Not a lot of people are really interested in open world or single player games. So the kind of community you build in, and even large number of single player games like Far Cry or GTA, if you know about them, they have co-op abilities where you can actually invite your friends to come over and do certain kinds of missions in gaming. So even single player games are actually focusing on community building and group playing. So in this kind of scenario, right, playing with the group or playing with your friends actually enhances the experience of the game rather than you playing it alone. In our company, right, especially in gaming, single player gaming, wherever you have right now, like PUBGs or CSGOs, FPS, which you call, these are the games where competitions are really taking a lot of attention right now. Esports, right? All the esports conduct their own competitions and everything else. And right before the competition, just imagine, right before the competition, I'll be calling up the participants, or I'll be calling up the people who signed up to watch the stream on YouTube or Netflix or whatever it is, and saying them that, hey, your favorite gamer is playing, right? And even the other participants of the gaming event, when we call them and say them, hey, the game has been starting into 1 hour or 2 hours, and getting them excited for the game at least one day, or even one day or 1 hour before the event would be really really great, especially in terms of because a lot of, as you actually mentioned, Animitra, most of the people actually download light versions of the games and only switch on mobile data when they actually use them. But in kind of cloud telephony, right? This telephone needs a signal. It doesn't need a push notification. Even though if I send a push notification, if the internet is off on the user's end, it's of no use. But with cloud telephony and SMS solutions, right, we can easily ping them before an event or regarding other updates, and it would really actually upgrade the experience of the user.
Thank you so much for that, Keelan. I think it's a very valid point, and with all the insight that we have, now let me go to Vikas and ask for your views and also understand a bit about how you are trying to curate a better customer engagement and experience for the gamers on your platform, and how do you think personalized communication plays a big role in that?
Yeah. Hey, right. Again, just a heads up, I am again still under the weather, so pardon my voice. So I am Vikas. I'm joining in from Spartan Poker. I head marketing and product here. And I think in a simple thing, we are trying to unbondify poker, right? Because we have all seen poker just as a heritage from Bond films, but it's not actually that way. The whole grandeur remains the same, but it's for everyone there to come and participate. So with that in mind, I think from cloud competition, gaming is a very natural adaptation of cloud, right? So when we say cloud, there are two reasons that come into mind. One, when there is globalization that is required, and second, when there is a product first approach, right, where there are no sales teams, there are no retail, like in an auto industry and all, right? So such kind of industry require cloud to start and then flourish across a country or geographically worldwide as well. So in that case, gaming obviously is global. It's not restricted to any country, and I think India is still yet to catch up. So most of the gaming engines are in outside India, and they are just trying to come and leverage the market of India as well, right? So cloud is the only way to come. Similarly, all the marketing teams, the users, all are spread across. So I think it's a very natural adaptation for gaming industry for to exist and thrive without with the help of cloud communication. Now, answering specific to a communication point of view, right, from a marketing and also, unlike other industries, in gaming industry, there are no sales teams, right? There are no retail teams who will go and try to sell the product or try to generate revenue, develop, expand your business and so on. It's purely basis the kind of notifications, the SMS, the in-app buying notifications and all that you try to loop in different users from different type of offers and all, right? So that's the only way these companies can generate revenue. So from that point of view, product marketing, what someone might call it CRM, or different terminologies are used, but these type of marketing communications are the only way to develop and expand business in this industry, right? So that's how it becomes very critical. So I came in here from a different industry where generally there are sales and retail teams. It was a little surprising to see that retention marketing as a function, or product marketing as a function, whatever you call it, right, that was considered as a business function here. Right, by its name, it feels like a marketing function, right? But it's actually a business function, because all the type of communication that they send at different points in a user journey, all of that is how they try to generate more and more revenue, increase the lifetime value of a user, and so on. So from that perspective, this industry very naturally adapting to cloud kind of an infrastructure. And from a marketing point of view, since there are no sales, retail kind of an approach, it's only from such kind of communication which can be enabled firstly with that granular level of data being maintained in a live environment to capture what the user is doing inside the game, and then being able to develop campaigns and marketing strategies to go and tap into those emotions where they might that emotion might lead into a transaction. So I think from that perspective, it is very natural, and the same is what is being done here as well at Spartan. Currently, like I mentioned, retention marketing or product marketing, whatever you call it, that's the business function, and that is actually how this industry is good. Through such kind of functions and marketing is how this industry is growing as well. So yeah, I think those were my thoughts. And see, this industry is not like a high ticket price industry that you take a subscription or you take a product, you purchase first time and then you use, right? It's all free game, free login. So how a company will survive, a product will survive, just depends on retention marketing, increasing your lifetime value, and so on, right? So that is how I think all of this kind of marketing and cloud communication, which enables that. Again, community marketing, content marketing, influencer marketing, all are different ways of trying to tap into the user, but all being facilitated by cloud communication. So I think unlike other industries, this industry is very natural to adapt to it. And without, I think, this kind of a communication and this kind of service providers, this industry might not have come to where it is now. It would have been offline like the way we used to play in PCN, right? Not like the way it is.
Thank you, Vikas, for sharing that. And I think that brings me to my next question, which I again want to keep very open-ended. That we all discussed about how COVID has been like a sort of a booster, maybe in terms of how people are spending time and money on gaming platforms. Similar to what people have been doing in COVID times, spending a lot of money on crypto. People have been spending a lot of money on games as well. So do you think now, as situations are changing, like things are going back slowly to the pre-COVID times, do you feel that there would be a challenge in retaining, as Vikas was mentioned, the survival or the growth depends on retention? Do you feel what kind of challenges that an organization might be facing in terms of retaining the engagement levels or the spending levels on gaming platforms? Please take it up. I do not want to highlight any one of you, but I think that is very relevant to all of you. So
I think I'll go ahead with what I feel. So brilliant question, Anamitra. Firstly, what is the change? And I think all of us will agree that we are now not. I mean, as far as our pools and as far as the monthly revenue is concerned, obviously it's not as it was in COVID times. Because obviously the time spent has gone down. People have started. Many offices have started. Work from home is not for everyone, and yes, you're right. You know, we are definitely seeing that pre-COVID sort of like rebounding back to the pre-COVID levels. But having said that, you know, see, there are two ways to look at it. Yes, definitely we can't expect COVID level of you know, time spent on gaming. And I'm not talking about one game in particular, be it Rummy, be it you know, free to play, be it any game, like game in general. Be it Ludo, for example. But the thing is, this time spent going down will definitely impact revenues. Will definitely you know, hurt the bottom line. But having said that, there is one, you know, like I would say silver lining there, wherein many companies, many people have started seeing gaming differently. So gaming in India was you know, for like previously to COVID, it was seen like, अच्छा चलो ठीक है, कुछ नहीं है तो थोड़ा सैटरडे संडे गेम खेल लेते हैं, ठीक है. But now that outlook has changed every day. Like I know people every day, even in their busy scenarios, they will play. Like there are a set of games that they love. Like maybe you love PUBG, you know, I love say Team 11 or XYZ, or you know, I love fantasy. Like any sort of gaming, they have a set of games. ठीक है, दो game खेलूंगा. So that change, that shift has come, and that I think you will read it in Google reports as well, wherein gaming has seen a tremendous, you know, pull in Indians. And although the time spent has gone down, but that habit is not going to change, because it's been 1.5 years that, you know, people are at home. So once that habit is formed, it's very difficult to change. And gaming has, like it or not, gaming has become a habit, and it is here to stay. And again, this is what I feel based on my reading of data, internal you know, data points. And I feel that although the revenues may go to you know, previous pre-COVID levels, but the sustainable growth in gaming will definitely, it's growth is yet to, we have yet to witness that growth. That's what I feel.
If I very good points, Pratik. If I chime in, Namitra, for a bit.
yeah, please.
Yeah, I mean, those are like real good points, Pratik. So I would like to break it down into two ways, right? And one is from the industry standpoint, as companies, you know, likes of Prashant, Pratik, Garima, and Vikas, everyone would like to have the teams to come back to office and work together, right? So that's a good part. You know, COVID-wise, that is, now that it's ending, very likely that we might start office and people like to come back and do it. So that's, as a company, that's a good thing, right? And second is, like Pratik mentioned, there is people have put on a different lens now to see the gaming. Back in the days, my mom never liked me playing games, right? And now I make an earning on that. I'm making a business on of it, right? So now that said, there is a different piece. What I could say that there is a huge talent that might come in the next 4 or 5 years, right? A lot of people will be encouraged to come in and be part of it. So COVID have given that a different lens to the people, to Aam Janta, that gaming is not just a, you know what, engineering nahi mila, yahi nahi mila, chalo gaming kar le, art kar le, waisa nahi hai. You know, it's gonna be like, okay, it's a clear profession. There are people who are gonna be not just at people who are building games, but at the esports level too, right? People gonna encourage their kids to be part of the teams and so on and so forth, right? So that's true. From the user perspective, from the perspective of as a company, as a publisher of the game, we see that there is a drop into the time spent. But what also happened is that COVID actually introduced a lot of gamers to the entire gaming community, right? In the sense, I know there are like quite a few family groups who have the only for Ludo special groups, right? Hey, Ludo khelne koi tayar hai. You know, they put it in and hey, this is ID, go and get him, right? So there are special groups. So that actually gonna be there. So maybe there is a drop into the time spent and maybe a slight drop into the revenue. But I would say that this has encouraged more and more people to come and be the gamer, be the people who are gonna, and this is a habit. This is not gonna change, and this is gonna continue. Eventually, these guys gonna graduate to become a paid user, graduate to become a whale, or graduate to become a user who gonna contribute a significant amount. So all these factors are very key. Super exciting. Again, I said, like the last time I spoke, we are excited. Gaming has never been so exciting as we see that now. So it's amazing. So that's my view on the COVID and getting back to normal.
Absolutely, and I think that's very interesting as well, because it's almost a similar boom as we had seen in the social media space, right? Like our parents, our generation used to don't spend time on your phones. This is going to ruin your life. And then social media became a profession. People are having full-fledged companies built on social media. They are becoming full-time social media managers, and they're sustaining lives through that. I think similar fate is also being transformed for gaming industry as well. And exactly, these are very exciting times. Again, I would also want more views to come in on this topic.
Anamitra, if I can draw two parallels. So if I can draw two parallels, when demonetization happened, Paytm increased, right? Paytm, PhonePe and all. But after currency came back into the system, it didn't really affect Paytm's revenues, right? Once initiated, always initiated. Similarly, very specific to COVID, if you take EdTech as an industry, apart from gaming, I think EdTech was one which boomed significantly, right? When schools were all closed and everything, all students thrived to these e-learning platforms. Now that schools are restarting, schools have got digitized and all, Byju is still growing, right? So I don't think it's gonna, because once initiated, once an industry is shaped, once awakened to something, people don't really go back to traditional ways back again, right? And again, once a gamer, always a gamer. That's there, but right. So that's always there. And I think how it was more easier in the COVID time, right? We didn't really need to initiate a lot, right? People khali baithe hain, wo khel rahe hain, unko package chahiye, khud le rahe, right? Now it might not be that way. Marketing intervention might be required a little more, right? Especially in these a few more months. Plus rechurning of users, because significant user base would have come in the last 2 years, right? So all of that rechurning, going back and trying to tap into that pool might be required. So some specific interventions might be required, but I don't think it should impact the industry as a whole a lot.
If I just may add, like we have seen the boom in the number of players coming during COVID time. It like somebody just mentioned, it is a habit. Like people tasted the blood, and now they may not be using it that frequently because they are busy, but not that they are not going to forget it. And also to do with the fact that a lot of time these games, the minute the money comes into picture, the real money comes into picture, people were always like, these companies must be sitting in some shoddy places and operating from there. They are going to take our money everything the minute we just log on to the platform. I think that inhibition has gone out from this set of customer, a lot of customer, because a lot of word of mouth happened. People talked about it. Say they were talking about it. What are you doing? Okay, I'm playing Ludo. I'm playing, some game, and it's not that my money is going. It's a safe platform. Nobody is hacking my platform, and also to do with the fact that whenever they had challenges, they had team in each company to support them. They were I think everybody at a company level scaled up every function. So, they know that they are not dealing with some unknown people who are just going to make, just going to do some fraud. Hence, more confidence or more trust is there from user side for the games, for the gaming companies, which is usually as a perception is more casual. I mean, who cares? Who are you? Now it's more professional, more trustworthy. And that's going to stay, and hence it's more interesting, and hence it's at a company level, it's everybody's responsibility to keep building on that trust with small innovation steps. That's what I see in future.
I totally agree with Karima.
I totally agree with the entire panel, and especially it's not only just high up and a slight dip right now. What I feel is that it will be a constant steady up right after we have a dip slightly after the COVID settles and everything actually becomes pre-COVID. But actually, I think we have a slight increase over the long term, because it's not only uh, the habituation of gaming to a lot of people, but also it's a lot of aspirations as well, right? When you see, social media and gaming are the two biggest factors that influence people sitting at home during lockdown. And the beautiful, if you draw a Venn diagram, right, the beautiful place where both of them actually merge is streamers. A lot of game streamers actually came, especially on Twitch and YouTube, and a lot of young folks and young people actually aspire to become a esports player, of a PUBG player or Valorant player or whatever it is, right? So in even right now, the online courses or gaming courses have been increasing a lot. Told by Mortal or told by other young gamers, right? It's really funny because normally in sports, right, in cricket or in football or whatever, people actually retire after 30, 32 or 33. But in games, right, the retiring age is 23 or 24. That's how it is, right? In gaming, an esports player is in his prime from 14 to 25. That's the thing, right? And especially a lot of people, especially school kids and college kids, are got habituated playing the games and also seeing their favorite gamers playing on YouTube, on Twitch, right? So even though we might have a slight dip right now, but eventually for the entire gaming industry, more gamers will come in. They try to become professional players, and even though they don't become professional players, they're looking to play game just as fun, right? Instead of going to movies, they can just play for 4 hours with their friends, or 2-3 campaigns on any game, right? So it's a very beautiful combination where they can make money just by streaming online without being a professional gamer. They can be a professional gamer, or they can just use gaming as a time as passing the time in a more efficient way than just consuming a passive content like a web series or gaming, because it's more interactive than just watching some, just passively consuming the content. So that's what I believe. Even though we have slight dip right now, it will be an increase to a gaming industry as a whole from all kind of generation, right, from younger generation to the elder generation. That's what I believe.
I think just to what Leela said, right? I think one of the important things to realize is a lot of positive dialogue has started lately, right? That it's a serious sport. A lot of stuff. In fact, if you take cue from countries like South Korea, gaming has contributed to nation building. Imagine, right? Those dialogues have started in India now, and thanks to AIGF and others who are just talking about it, right? I think that has to continue, and because until before it was, and I can see the change myself, right? From 10 years back to now, pehle it was a very hush-hush thing. Gaming kar rahe hain. Then it's like, okay, kar rahe hain, but I don't know tell about it. Now people are very, very open. Now also, like recently we were trying to contact some of our users who have been winning some games, and we said, okay, are you open to kind of come online, talk about things, give videos? To a surprise, I mean, almost 85% people agreed. Right, so things are changing very, very, rapidly, and I think a lot of positive dialogue has also started, which is very important. Right, that kind of I would say, legitimizes the whole concept around, this is not a shady thing, and this is important, and everybody like knows that this is a good thing to do.
Yeah, I completely agree, with you, Prashant and Leela. To your point about streaming, that was the biggest, point I would say for India. And I think all of us know this. I mean, like at least from what I've been consuming, the whole game changer for gaming industry in particular was Carrie Minati. You may like
Esports.
you may like him, esports. You may like him, hate him, but then the way like people, I was previously to this, I was working with DDB Mudra, advertising agency. So we used to reach out. You won't believe these 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. They were being They were being paid in lakhs, like in I mean, I don't want to reveal the actual amount, but in lakhs just to for a product
Promote it.
placement, for an advert, for a a banner in their video. So that got viral, like their fan following, their people from tier 2, tier 3 cities, like, "Arey yaar, 18 saal ka bacha lakhon kama raha hai, chalo." Like I know gamers who have got their Honda Accord and their Skodas by just posting their gaming videos. So I think this whole thing created so much of hype and so much of influence in the age group that you spoke about, Leela, 14 to 25. That's the reason that got like a tremendous boost in gaming, and then that also had a ripple effect on all the other games. Obviously, esports was the biggest, but then that had a rub-off effect on every other type of game. Be it Ludo, be it Teen Pati, be it Tambola. I know during the first phase of COVID, Tambola had so much of viral, like it was so viral. Everyone used to play housey Tambola, in the night time. So like, obviously that phase died very fast. But point being that people started playing games in a very serious way, like Prashant said. They like the legitimacy of the whole gaming industry happened. And again, this kudos to and credit to each and every gaming player out here, and even people who are not here. They've tried their best. They've spent a lot of money to make sure that the legitimacy happens in a correct way.
Perfect. What I would like to add to this is that the kind of community building is so much and so has been happening in COVID times. Is that even Amazon, Netflix, who actually can only give us passive content, actually added watch parties and these kind of things so that we can see other web series and movies with other friends while chatting, right? The kind of communication and everything. So it's ultimately it boils down to the community and actually interacting with the other person while actually we're consuming either actively or passively. So that's what I would like to add. Thanks.
And like it's not just related to it, just I want to highlight one more thing, like the exposure of this gaming industry to the normal public. Like I believe like not just game, we will get more gamers, even the game creators. Like that's where I'm like looking ahead, like to see more creative ideas and creative games from India.
We are definitely evolving. I can tell you that. I can really assure you that when it comes to from the perspective of content creation, we are definitely evolving. And speaking about the market, the gaming market, the dip, I mean, for me, the dip can be compensated, to be very honest, from my perspective. The reason why I'll tell you, because I feel that gaming has already become a part of our modern media culture. We are all digital converts. COVID made us, we outpaced our this that whole expectancy that we were going to be we are going to take so much time in getting into gaming, but due to COVID, that process got hasted and we adopted to virtual world. So in any case, the dip is like that happens. Like in any case, dip comes and goes. It comes in cycles. It happens in cycles. Like, but still, I feel that this market is a very, very free market economy. Gaming market is a very, very free market economy. Nobody is monopolizing over anything else. The best content that is created, that really wins, takes the trophy home. That's how it is going to be. Since many of my colleagues are who work with me in hyper casual segment, so the hyper casual segment has like taken up by storm. Like it's in the last 7 years, and it's still it's the competition is to the edge. So I see a lot of creators putting their efforts and bringing ideas, adopt, implementing philosophies in games, in the content, from the perspective of content. So yes, it will be skyrocketing as usual, I feel. That's my way of putting it. And yeah, one more point, Anamitra, I wanted to talk about is, I do not know about Exotel, the product of Exotel, but yes, as some of our panel members spoke about streaming, cloud streaming is also one of the most important factor that actually helps in building the community. The very idea that, many players often guide others, in playing a particular game, or try to give tips and hacks, about a game,
They
how
are
to crack
teaching.
this.
Actually, there are many
Yeah.
courses. They are teaching.
No, even they're telling other players how to play this game, how to crack
Exactly.
this. So cloud streaming within the same app also will be helpful, I feel. And little bit of cloud integration with game engines, the game engines that developers are using. If your cloud this integration of your cloud services with an existing game engines that most developers they rely upon will also be an added advantage. Just this is just a suggestion from my end. Maybe that helps you.
Definitely, point well taken. And I think it's almost time to wrap up our conversation. I think we have exceeded the timeline which is given to us.
Yes.
And it has been a really insightful discussion and I have two takeaway points which I feel can maybe sum up the whole conversation that we had. Is that gaming industry at this point of time is at the brink of sustainable development and growth. Though there are always curves out there, but this is going to have a steady growth from now on. And to power that growth, customized communication is going to play a major role, especially cloud communication, to make sure that we can hyper personalize conversations and communication to our gamers and make sure that we have the most of their engagement time and they keep on engaging with the platform and build that community. And with that, I would hand it over to Ekta again for the closing remarks. And we would also be happy to answer any questions. Me and Raman are live here as well.
Okay. Thank
Over
you,
to you, Ekta.
Anamika. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you all the wonderful speakers for sharing interesting insights. So as I've already mentioned on the chat box, any questions, please, we have all the speakers here. I know we are over time, but at least can take one question or two. Rest, we will be also sharing the feedback form, which mentions about a one-on-one brainstorm session with Exotel about cloud communication for the gaming industry. And they would love to answer all your queries on that. So audience, any questions? We'll wait for a while, Anamitra, for the audience too.
For sure, no worries.
Hi, Anamitra. This is Ankur. I have a quick question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Ankur, please go ahead.
So, Imtiaz spoke about in-game player interactions when players can speak to each other and communicate how they're feeling, what could be the next levels. So, my question is, how did you identify and mitigate the risks involved for this kind of activity?
So, are you referring to the voice calls and?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So yeah, fundamentally there are a lot of problems as such, right? I mean, there were complaints around that saying that, hey, you know what, my kid is spending some time with someone unknown, right? And so we are trying to have some gates around it, primarily around that, saying that, hey, you know what, if you're under 18 or something, you have to actually get under permission from various gates that you have, right, for the permission of the stuff. We had cases where where the users were abusing the other user, while playing the game, and the fundamental way of doing that is tackling and identifying various methods of when the user is being notified that okay, he's abusing, and there are multiple things, you permanently block the user, right? There is methods of warning that user or say. So initially, right away, we had a lot of difficulty to identify. Okay, fine, there is a conversation which is heating up, and do we need to chime in? There's no method as such that we have implemented, but once the user is being notified, okay, fine, this guy is being abusing on the chat, and we look at various parameters and then identify them, and then also block him permanently or warn him permanently, and then we have actually a person who actually calls in and say what, hey, this is what the complaint is real or something like that. So
Sure. Thank you.
I would like to share a small anecdote here. Is that I think as we are at a point of time where this sort of communication and this ecosystem is slowly getting built up, there would be challenges. There would be new challenges coming up, and we would have to work together to find solutions for that. I think one of the this kind of can make me refer back to one of the challenges that we had is when we started off with the e-commerce deliveries and the cab aggregators, right? There were a lot of misutilization of phone numbers. The driver partner would harass people by calling or messaging, or the delivery partners as well. And for that, we have something called a number masking. So where now all the calls are being routed via a virtual number, and the numbers are not exposed to the driver partner. And in that way, we could solve a problem. And I think all the problems that would be coming up and the challenges, I wouldn't call it a problem, I would call it a challenge, because this can be solved with technology. I think we all should be working together as a technology provider and developing community, and also the gaming community at a large to mitigate this.
Just to add to Imtiaz's point, I think something that we are also working on with other companies is that speech analysis, right? Like basically where if, like you said, like Imtiaz mentioned, if there's a communication happening between a group of people, we can try and detect the emotion of that communication. How is it happening? If there's an increase in temper, if there's an increase in voice, so immediately it can be intervened, right? So that can be one layer of like a layer of protection that can be added. So that would actually help identify such threats. So that could also possibly help. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So any more questions, or I think we are over time. I think, what are your thoughts, Anamitra? Or do we do the closure?
I think if we don't have more questions, which I don't think
Yes.
we have, we can go ahead, and I think we already have taken a lot of time from
Yes.
our esteemed panelists for today, and we can go ahead and close the
Of
conversation for
course.
today.
We had great insights. Yes. So, Raman, anything from your end coming in? Any thoughts you would like to share on the closure?
Yeah, I think we've covered everything. Like, I mean, like maybe if there's anything more that you guys want to know, obviously we are here to talk to you. We can always connect offline, and then we can talk to you about this and take it forward. So.
Sure. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the speakers, for taking out your precious time on Thursday noon and being here with us today and sharing interesting insights on gaming. And also thanking our partner Extel for giving us this opportunity to get all the senior people on board. Not missing our audiences who have joined. There are few, but since it's a roundtable, of course, we encourage the speakers more. And we would also be sharing a feedback form after this and requesting you to fill and share with us, which also mentions about one-on-one brainstorm session with Exotel, where we would be really glad to connect you with them for one-on-one virtual meet about their cloud communication solutions for the gaming industry. And that's all for the day. Thank you once again, and have a lovely evening, and stay safe and stay healthy, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you so much. Bye.